Please welcome to the stage co-founder of Hipmunk, Adam Goldstein.
Thank you for the introduction. Since my company was acquired, I want you to know that I come here speaking for myself. And there's a lot to remember from today's presentations and rally, but I want to talk about something else, which is what it's like to forget. Because during this last campaign season, we heard a lot about the forgotten man. The man who'd been left behind by technological change and global trade. And there is truth to that. But what does it say about our national character to choose to solve the problem of forgetting some by forgetting others? How can we choose to forget those who come here seeking opportunity to build a better America with their mind and with their hands? How can we choose to forget those who are fleeing war and terror? How can we choose to forget the millions of Americans who only recently got health care? Because these are not just forgotten men, but also forgotten women and forgotten children. And as these forgotten people look at the America of today, they wonder, is this forgetting some kind of temporary amnesia? Or has America decided to make forgetting the law of the land? The answer depends in part on us. Because change happens when a movement captures the attention of the public and politicians. And when there are forgotten people, it is easiest for them to build a movement when they ally themselves with those who are still remembered. I want to share two historical examples that run straight through the Bay Area to show how we can take inspiration from others in the past. The first example is that of apartheid in South Africa. For decades, this was a battle that was fought almost exclusively by black South Africans. But over time, people in other countries started paying attention too. And as just one example, students at Berkeley came together and organized. And with the visibility that they drew to the issue, the first city divested from South Africa. That city was San Francisco. And over time, after the city and college had established the lead, other cities and colleges followed. And the issue drew such national prominence and international prominence that it was impossible for anyone to forget. The second example that goes through the Bay Area is that of marriage equality. For decades, the federal government stood against it. Even 10 years ago, a majority of Californians voted against it. But once again, we here in the Bay Area bucked the trend. It started with those who wanted to marry, but it quickly grew as they talked to their friends and their neighbors. And then those friends and neighbors enlisted the support of their local governments and their local companies. And together, they brought enough attention to the issue that it was impossible for the rest of America to forget that they were denying equality to their fellow Americans. And once again, we prevailed. Now, what should we take from this? This is the thing we need to recognize. Today, despite all of the wealth and power that the individuals in the Bay Area have, it is not enough. We need to take the next step towards the centers of power. We need groups on our side, groups like colleges and like local cities, but also another important group. That group is our companies. Because I've been a CEO and I can tell you, the incentives are heavily skewed against activism. It is far easier to advocate for tax reform than it is for social justice, because you don't have to worry about losing customers. It's far easier to advocate for high-skill immigration, where it directly affects your bottom line, than refugees who do not. And so today, our companies find themselves in a very similar position to the presidents of colleges during apartheid. They know that if they are the first company to move, their company will suffer. But once one company moves, then it will be easier for all of the rest to follow. So what can weigh against our company's concern for losing money and losing prestige? The answer is simple: losing us. Because if all tech workers of conscience were to disappear tomorrow, our companies would cease to exist. That is where our true power lies. So when you go into work this week, take another step. Talk to your colleagues, talk to your manager, and talk to your CEO. If everyone here does that, there will be thousands of new conversations that happen this week. And if you and your colleagues speak and your company still doesn't listen, then vote with your feet. Because in solidarity, you, your companies, and the newly forgotten, that is the start of something. That will make it easier for other companies in other industries to take the step too. And that, working together with our organizers and our friends in other cities and other fields, that will be enough to bring about change. So as we remember the newly forgotten, we must also remember on their behalf how to win. Showing up here is only the first step. Tomorrow, walk into your office, take the next step, and demand that your company starts showing up too. Thank you.